Welcome back to the Dave Knows Comics live stream. I'm your host, David Lee, back for a late night session on the comic book channel, and thank you so much for having your notifications set and being very well aware of what's going on the comic book channel. That way you can check this show out whenever it mysteriously goes live, because as I said, you never know. You just never know. So here we go. Let's just see who comes in. Oh, thank you for a thumbs up right off the bat, whoever you are. Very generous. And so today, last time. So thank you for joining me on this watch party. Since we got nothing to do, my sleep schedule's all messed up, and slowly unraveling. You guys are going to be the happy community that I get to save my sanity with. True Sinister, welcome, welcome. I hate we live in a climate where we have to lie and bite our tongues. Hi, Dave. Yeah, that does suck. True Sinister, I hear you on that one. I do believe that will change, though. I don't think that'll be permanent, for whatever that's worth. Anyway, so yesterday I decided to say, hey, since we started doing this, hey, let's just figure out what we're going to watch together. But then yesterday I decided to pick what we're going to watch going into it, so I decided let's go with Pride of the X-Men. Today, going to do a combination. So I have my Netflix. Hey, what is up, Game Tech? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if anyone noticed my shirt, but so what we're going to do is, I have Netflix all ready to go, and I said, hey, let's do a Marvel Netflix show, but let's combine this idea where I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. So while we are focused, there we go. Remote was in the way. So while we are focused on the Netflix series, and hey, we were talking about might as well get stuff done while Netflix still allows us. Let's get this one done. So we're gonna get something from the Marvel Netflix side. I'll let you guys decide, see what you want to do. Dale, my man, good to see you. Good to see you. So we're gonna pick something from the Marvel Netflix side of things. Which specific show that'll be up to you guys. And yeah. If you can see the shirt, I haven't worn the shirt. It's not working quite as well as it used to, but I think it needs to be charged or anything. But it is a very old shirt. It is like 10 years old. But anyway, so late night vibes, late blue light, all that stuff. So anyway, Netflix is up for me. You guys vote. You guys decide. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. You guys decide what Marvel Netflix show you would like to watch, and we'll watch an episode. Late night, got nothing to do. Don't think I'm going to sleep anytime soon. And not quite hungry yet, although I feel like I will be. It's really just a combination of sleeping and eating, and that's pretty much all I've been doing. Yeah. So live streaming helps. It gives me something else to look forward to. It gives me something else to do. 5 people up here. So yes, thank you for the thumbs up. So yeah, cast your votes now. Which Marvel Netflix show would you like to watch tonight? Figured nice hour-long episode, not like the 20-minute show we watched yesterday. So it gives you something. All right. Game Tech says, are there any Marvel stuff on Netflix anymore? Or did Disney Plus take them all? Well, no, there are still some Marvel movies, but specifically I'm looking for the Marvel Netflix series, like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Punisher, please not Iron Fist, things like that, of that nature. Okay, so Dale says, you could say Daredevil or Punisher, Nick Cage, yeah, the shows like that, or even the Defenders, but again, hopefully not that either. So one of those shows is what I'm looking for. Any season, any episode. Let's see what you guys want. Let's see if there's something in specific you guys want to check out. I will tell you this much. I'll be honest, I never saw Iron Fist Season 2. No interest. Everyone told me it's still not good. So as you guys have noticed, I kind of watch these things with the volume off. So it helps if it is something I've seen before. This is hard. Well, okay, let's start with which show. Which one of the shows should we do? Let's narrow it down to the superhero. My favorite Defenders moment was when Elektra took over. That was good. It was interesting she was the big bad of that season. But let's start with this. You guys, let's see if we can come to a consensus. Name which show you would like to start before we get down to the episode. Let's pick which one show. So we have Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher. Oh. Well, Netflix has a sleep mode, or has a screensaver on. I didn't know they had that. Okay, True Sinister, vote for Punisher. My favorite defender. Okay, True Sinister has a vote for Punisher. I like it. Alright, I like it. Alright, Game Tech says, I only know Iron Fist from the Ultimate Spider-Man animated show. Oh, alright, yeah. Yeah, he was voiced by the same dude that does Beast Boy. Very zen, man. Very chill. He was actually a pretty solid guy in previous games. This current Marvel Ultimate Alliance game 3, not so good. He's kind of weak sauce in it. That is not how he's supposed to do it. Not how who's supposed to do it. Eh? What did I miss? Okay, so all right, so one vote for Punisher. Anybody else want to back him up? Since it's late now, we don't have as many people here. Oh, he's also Michelangelo. Yeah, but to me, I only recognize the first cartoon. But yes, I did hear of that. His version of Iron Fist. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so we have one vote for Punisher, so I guess we'll just go for 2 votes if we can get a general consensus. So anybody else want to make a vote for which show you would like to watch? Yeah, Punisher. So far, 1 vote for Punisher. All right. Anybody else want to take a vote? I don't know. Iron Fist from Marvel Comics, Maximum Carnage. Now, Iron Fist is a cool character, and for my money, he should be one of the best fighters in the Marvel universe, in the comic books at least. He typically isn't regarded as such. I think he's on the list, but he's not at the top. Usually, the way what's interesting about it is DC and Marvel approach things very differently. Now, of course, this official list changes, but last time I checked, the official list for it goes is the top 2 fighters are Wolverine and Captain America. Probably Captain America. Top 2 guys, major players, serious characters, or popular characters. Where in DC, the top fighter, pure fighter in the DC comics is typically Lady Shiva is portrayed there. So while a lot of people just assume it's Batman, and like Batman and Slade, they would put them up there, but it's typically regarded as Lady Shiva. Black Canary is actually very high up there too. So it's not as their characters that they selected are less popular. Where Marvel went the other way and just took their most popular guys. So it's an interesting change of dynamic, but for my money, like Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, it should be between the 2 of them. Like how Captain America, fine, I guess, and Wolverine also fine, I guess, but still, I kind of thought it should be the 2 of them. No, yes, True Sinister. That is also a criticism for sure that the Netflix show itself got a lot of. Okay, Dale says Punisher, my top Marvel hero. Okay, so 2 votes for Punisher. It's pretty high up there. Black Panther is Netflix. Shield still on Netflix? Yes, it is. But we got our 2 votes for Punisher, it seems. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with that if that's okay with everybody. I'm gonna queue it up now. But what season? Season 1 or 2? Let's go. Let's narrow it down. Let's continue narrowing this down. So do you want to do season 1 or 2 of Punisher? What is wrong with my remote? Dropping it probably didn't help either. Alright, so do you want to do season 1 or season 2, guys? Season 1 says True Sinister. Okay, let's get, if we can get another vote in there. So 1 vote for season 1, let's see if we can get another vote for season 1. Interestingly enough, the first episode is called 3 a.m. It's not 3 a.m. here, but it would be interesting if it was 3 a.m. somewhere. For one of you guys. Take your time. We're not going there yet, just getting the vote on. And if this dark nature is too much for you guys, if you guys want me to turn the light on, I can definitely do that. But yes, so far, 1 vote for season 1. Game Tech, Punisher. I hope you're okay with it. Water is good. Yeah, gotta drink it now. So any other choices? Or season 1? We got 1 vote for season 1. Anybody else? Dale, what'd you think? Ooh, we got someone else. Another thumbs up. Thank you. So, any other takers? And if it is 3 a.m. by you, let me know, because that would be interesting. Season 1, it's okay with me. Okay, season 1. Now, truth be told, now I'm glad you guys said this, because truth be told, out of all the Marvel Netflix shows, Punisher season 1 is my favorite season of every one of them. So this is actually my favorite one. Okay, so next up, it's fire. I don't know what that is. I am too old to understand new music. But anyway, okay, so great. We got season 1. Okay, so now out of all the episodes, 13 episodes, any particular episode you guys want to go for in the 13 episode pantheon? Any takers? Anybody want to make a suggestion? Personally, trying not to sway the vote or anything, but I am pretty interested in just going ahead with the first episode. Why not? First couple of episodes of Luke Cage were okay in my opinion. Nothing crazy. I really like Luke Cage a lot. I did like the beginning right until they got rid of Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth was everything. After they pushed him, after he went aside, and they really want to instead work on man, I can't remember the goofy guy's name. His brother, whoever his brother was Sidewinder. I want to say Sidewinder, but it was like some snake gimmick, like Diamondback, something. Anyway, yeah, when they switched the focus on whoever he was, as the main character, as the main villain, I just lost it. It was terrible. Like it was Moitari Diamondback. Yeah, as soon as they switched the focus to Diamondback, I thought it was terrible. All right, True Sinister, always quick with the vote. I like it. True Sinister votes for episode 1. Anybody else have a vote for what episode of season 1 of the Punisher they would like to do? As I said, this season is actually my favorite season of any Marvel show. Jessica Jones season 1 would be next. I really like Jessica Jones season 1 a lot. Season 2, not so much. Season 1 of Jessica Jones, I liked a lot. Season 2 of The Punisher, I liked as well. I also really liked Daredevil Season 3. Luke Cage, half of Season 1. Season 2 was more consistent of Luke Cage. I did, for the most part, just like all around. I'm like, okay, I can live with this. It was good, but, nothing stood out. But the first half of Season 1 for Luke Cage, I thought was really, really good. Was surprised about how Shades developed. Yeah, interesting. It was an interesting character for sure. I just thought Cottonmouth was a great villain, and I thought the dynamic that they set up was there. And then when they replaced him, it just wasn't like the plan wasn't as intelligent. It was a much dumber plan. Oh yeah, I like Jessica Jones. Oh yeah, I forgot that exists. I love the first season. The first season of Jessica Jones it was amazing. I thought nothing was going to top that, and then when Punisher came out, I was like, never mind. We got one just barely ekes out season 1 of Jessica Jones. But yeah, the Purple Man, great villain. I love the plot for that. I thought it was really, really good. Okay, so episode 1 vote. Anybody else want to take a stab at this? Anybody else want to see any other? Cottonmouth looks like I don't. He's a lot skinnier. I mean, I don't really. I almost get what you mean, but not quite. Harry Flynn, what's going on? Good to see you here. We're just taking a vote right now. Which episode from Punisher season 1 would you guys like to watch? Do they have the Brothers of the Serpent in that show? The old Avenger guys, bad guys? No, they don't. Good question though. Paradise PD, not quite, buddy. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and watch The Punisher. So yeah, any votes would be good. Let's see. More people coming on. It's kind of cool that everybody is filing on right now. I like it. Why was Elektra so powerful? In this universe or in the comics? Either way, a large part of it is the hand, the ritual that had her become the hand is a major reason why Elektra's always been so powerful. But in some continuities, she's not as super powered as much as she is just highly trained. But a lot of times, it really is the hand. And so, I mean, in this, a major complaint I have about the Defenders and everything like that as a whole that they set up with this universe is that coming back to life was a major focus of it, and it just threw away the consequences, and it also didn't seem that hard. It was a little too easy. Defenders, Hanley dominating Jessica Jones. Yeah, it's a more part of the ritual that brought her back. Gave her superpowers. But in reality, yeah, I hear you. Jessica Jones is immensely strong, so there's got to be some super juice. You might have remembered the first ever episode on this channel was a theory of mine that didn't actually pan out, or a hypothesis to be more accurate in terminology, was that there was going to be the Soul Stone was going to be the reason why these characters were able to bring back to life, and we were finally going to see the Netflix side of things come into play. Obviously, that didn't pan out, but that was going to be one of my guesses, that the Infinity Stone for Soul was going to be involved here. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited for the Loki show. Tom Hiddleston is my top 5 favorite actors of all time. That's pretty strong. Okay, season 1. Okay, alright, good. So it's season 1, episode 1. The title is 3 a.m. on Netflix, Punisher. The show is Punisher. So everyone, if you haven't already, please queue up your Netflix. Go to Punisher, go to season 1, go to episode 1. It's titled 3 a.m. and we're going to be watching it very shortly. So go ahead and get that started. Up if you please. I'll give you guys a minute. Marvel behind the scenes politics affect the actual content? Well, yeah, sadly that's true about a lot of things. All right, so Dale made it official. Thank you for the vote. So now we got 2 votes down. So we're going to be watching Marvel Netflix. Oh, Punisher, please go ahead and cue that up. He said giving everybody some time to do that. And let me adjust the lighting a bit. Realize that it's not exactly as bright as it could be. I'm going for a different ambiance today, or is everyone just wanting to go with normal lighting? A little too dark in here for me. There we go. Okay, back to normal. Okay. So game tech, Marvel context. Okay, so everybody cue up your Netflix. I'm a weird, when it comes to people who film and do video and the camera work a lot, they become obsessed with lighting. It's just one of those weird things. So, yeah. All right, so got it queued up. And I'm ready to go. So if there is no further delay and everybody's all caught up, hopefully you are, we're going to go ahead and watch The Punisher, Episode 1, Season 1, entitled 3 a.m. And, wait, what episode? Season 1, Episode 1, it's called 3 a.m. Okay, I'll give you guys a little bit more time. Alright, unless you like, no rush, don't worry, I'm not, not going anywhere. Did you guys like the darker aesthetic? Do you want the lights back off, or do you like it this way? I'm ready. Okay, Game Tech is ready. Alright, you guys, I hope everybody is ready. I also have the sneaking suspicion none of you actually care about the lighting in this room. It is too bright here. Gotta get it back off. So, yeah. Yeah, anyway, camera people. Obsessed with lighting. Really, really. Okay, so 3 a.m., Season 1, Episode 1. The episode's called 3 a.m. of The Punisher on Netflix. We're going to be watching it in 3, a 2, a 1. Go! Ooh, the Netflix logo. There's nudity in this? It's rated MA. Violence, sex, and nudity. I don't recall that. I'm not saying I just don't remember it. Oh, the quick, fast Marvel intro logo. I missed that. Alright, so here we open up. I have to admit, this episode, what I really like about this episode is how self-contained it is. That you could really, you don't have to watch the entire season to get into this. You can really just watch this episode. It's a standalone. It really has nothing to do with the rest of it. I really thought more things are going to come into play than they did, but here we go. So we're seeing Frank Castle, the Punisher, in his family life, with his guitar and his thoughts flashing back with his family and all that. It ain't the Punisher if he ain't dwelling over his family. Minor detail, a shaved head Punisher. I actually like this look for him, for the character. For Shane playing the Punisher. I actually think it's a good look. For him, something new. Something you don't see a lot, but there's a lot of superheroes they're beginning to give them, crew cuts and things like that. Arkham Knight did that to Tim Drake. I think it's a cool look. Alright, so now, in case you weren't familiar, which I'm sure you are, but Punisher was actually introduced in the Netflix universe in Daredevil Season 2. And in that show, it seemed like his story arc mostly wrapped up. And I talked about this on an episode of Judge of Character, but one interpretation of this is that this Punisher is mostly, they're very clear about he's insane. He does have serious, it's not he has traumatic brain, he does have traumatic brain injury. And he is also not caring whatsoever about going to jail or anything like that. He's a very intense character, which I like a lot. They pushed certain boundaries of it. Elmer, one of the co-stars on Monday Night Raw, actually doesn't like the idea that Punisher has a brain problem. He wants him to be consciously doing it and actually not mentally ill or suffering from PTSD. They just want him to be a certain way. But the series does make it vague enough to say maybe his traumatic brain injury has caused him to be a certain way. Maybe, but maybe not necessarily. While that was the legal case for it, he has said in open court that he knew what he was doing and doesn't care. So there's that option. All right, Dale says, what category do you put the Punisher for hero? He's definitely an anti-hero. That's what category I put him in personally. What about you guys? What do you think? And we open up, Punisher doing work, long distance sniping shot. Now, another thing to be aware of for this Marvel Netflix series is that the Punisher here is they are looking at different interpretations. Classically, you see a lot of Punisher taking down mob bosses. That's like what he always does, kills mob bosses. And while, yeah, he does that a little bit, he doesn't work with the mob as much. Like, we almost see more mob related stuff with Daredevil and other characters. And yeah, here we focus more on his military background. I think there's a lot more behind who he was from the military and his past with his military associations. More of that comes into play for this character than normal. Now, yeah, in the comic books, he's always been a military background, sometimes a special agent background, but that's always in the back burner. It's mostly just him killing gangsters, mafia people, mob bosses. But here, yeah, the original Tough Lunder movie, that was pretty much all he did was kill mob bosses. But here, his military tactical skills, his military training, and of course his cohorts and his colleagues from his military days play a much larger role. So I thought that was interesting because it was just different from the same old Punisher. But at the same time, it is nice to see him return to a true to form. It is nice seeing a little bit of the old-fashioned Punisher, the traditional Punisher, which I think this is what this intro is doing. Because here we are seeing him do less militaristic stuff and focusing more on that, on the mob or gang-related violence. We see a little bit more of that here. And that's what the beginning is about. Which is just nice because I think they knew they weren't going to focus on it for the rest of the season. So, anybody check out Savage Avengers? I don't even know what that is. Do tell. Let's think he is. Yeah, as I said, more tactical. I love this intro, by the way. I think this intro, and I'm not skipping intro. I actually do like the intro. It doesn't It's surprising because it doesn't 100% fit. It's a little more country-ish, and Punisher is from New York, but it does work. It does work for the show, which I find very interesting. Yeah. I guess in the long scheme of things, all you gotta do is just show a bunch of guns, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm watching a Punisher show. It doesn't take a lot. But yeah, so sneakiness, yeah, talking about how he definitely is more tactical. Yeah. Okay, Dale Sanford says, to me, that would make sense. He was fine until he lost his family. It brought back old memories that he was trying to get rid of. Okay, so Dale really does like the idea, and look at all the guns making the skull. Dale does like the idea that all of his PTSD came flooding back after his family, and that makes sense. Like, his family was the one thing keeping him sane, so the traumatic brain injury, as mentioned in Daredevil Season 2, is what really turned him on. Okay, like I said, it's a fair, Judge a Character. My episode of Judge a Character pretty much said it all. But yeah, so okay, here we go. Now, flash forward. We got some time has passed. We know this. His hair is different, and he's got a beard. One of the other things that this series has done that I liked was they set things up in a different way, where this Punisher really is trying to find redemption a lot more. In other movies and other films, like the Punisher Warzone, his character, which I actually like that movie. I know it's bad, but I actually do like it. He started off retired, and then he tried to quit for a little bit, or he was giving up. He was quitting the lifestyle. And it's something we see a lot of times, but it's not going to stick. But it's usually just nothing more than him saying it in passing before he eventually goes back because some gang guy roughs up a girl or something like that, or a kid, and then he has to swoop back in because he's the Punisher. But one thing the Netflix series has done very well is they do make it seem like he is putting a much stronger effort into redemption, or a much stronger effort into quitting and just moving on and finding life. Like, here, he has a job. He's in construction. He's got a day-to-day. He's minding his own. It's not just him saying, I quit that life, I'm done, and then doing nothing. He's living. He's got an occupation. And then in season 2, as we see, he meets a young lady, or, he meets a woman, and is able, and there was something else we talked about in Judge a Character, is it okay for Punisher to have sex? Let's just put it that way. Because a lot of times Punisher doesn't have sex. He's like a monk. There's also been several interpretations, as I mentioned, that Judge a Character, where some people have viewed it as he doesn't have sex anymore because it's his wife. After his wife was gone, that's it. He's done. But the killing that he does, the gangbanger stuff, is the getting rid of gang members and all that stuff. That is sex to him. Like that's his thing. And in keeping with that, whether you think that's true or not, it's just one interpretation. Here we have. Here we have him late night working away at this construction job because he's just burning midnight oil and he just got nothing else to do. This is all he has. So there's always has to be something he's obsessed with. And with studies on addiction, there are people who suggest that too, that, when you are addicted to something, you normally need something to fill that void. And here we see working construction is what it is. Before it was getting rid of criminals and now it's this. There's always going to be something for him. Because he is an addict. It's not necessarily a conscious choice. It is going to the idea that it is something that he is obsessed with. So, depending on how you feel about that. That's something else. This bathroom scene is giving weird Batman vibes. Fair enough. They do have a lot of similarities, the two of them. Savage Avengers members are Wolverine, Punisher, Venom, Conan, to name a few. It's a pretty good comic. Well... I've definitely been out of the limelight of physical comic books for a while, especially with everything going on now. I have a whole bunch of them. I have a couple that I haven't read, so maybe I might have to give that a whirl. Oh, sup, EJK? Sorry I missed you there, buddy. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the thumbs up. Where are you guys going? I put the Punisher in a vigilante, even though Batman would go after him. Interesting. Alright, so flashbacks of the kids. Now, minor detail, but one thing that does kind of bother me a little bit is that his wife and family are different from what they were in season 2 of Punisher, Daredevil. So it's like, I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons why they recast, but they don't even look close. I mean, I know they're very inconsequential characters. Their real only purpose is just to remind him of things. And not to go off on the Kevin Owens thing that I mentioned yesterday on the wrestling live stream, but I do kind of feel one aspect of the Punisher that I do like is the same thing like Kevin Owens, is that in Daredevil Season 2, he doesn't really do it in this show, but in Daredevil Season 2, a lot of times he just complains about his family, and you notice he's like, oh man, I miss her so much. She used to tell me, why don't you take out the trash? I hate you so much. When you take out the trash, you're good for nothing. I miss her so much. Why didn't she do that anymore? I would love just to hear her bitching me to take out the garbage and stuff like that. And like, it was kind of more real. It was that he misses the chance to bitch about things with his family more so than like putting them on a pedestal. Okay, so here's something. Yeah, these guys. Now, first of all, I think it's very odd. This does happen a lot, but yeah, these guys very clearly antagonizing him. You could see how mad it's making him, and he could be that dude again, but he's not going to. For me, this is a common trope that you see in comic book movies when the guy's trying to be a good guy, that you have him start doing stuff like this, and you instantaneously know, well, these guys are going to be criminals, and it's going to give the superhero an excuse to do something. And even if they're not criminals, you know the superhero is going to do something. Like Superman in Man of Steel, he destroys that guy's truck, or Shazam destroys those kids' trucks. Now, this kid right here is interesting, and this is another part of this series that challenges it. Because one thing I love about this show is that they really, really do challenge the morality. They do ask moral questions in interesting patterns. And this is definitely one of them. Like, is Punisher capable of showing leniency? Is he capable of forgetting? Because sometimes in the comic books, he's very black and white. If you're a criminal, he will shoot you in the face, and there's no questions of that. In the Civil War comic book, he did exactly that, which I thought was... I actually love that scene, and they did that in War Journal, too. It's like, and there has been some issues where he's gone to the extreme, where he'd execute for things like jaywalking. But before we get more into that, I don't want to lose this. This scene right here is very important. I like the scene a lot. But it didn't go to where I thought it was going to. And I want to talk about that momentarily. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. You heard Blade may join the Avengers in MCU Phase 5. I have heard that. I hope it happens. Degenerate, thank you for being here, Degenerate. We are watching The Punisher, Season 1, Episode 1. And in case you guys are interested in catching up, I am at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so right here, you see how the Punisher starts zoning out while this dude's talking to him. Now, if you've seen this episode already, you'll know that later on he catches this kid catches this this kid is as you saw, they teased it earlier, he's involved with those other guys, but there's this one part where he's talking to Punisher and Punisher kind of zones out and stops paying attention to him. I was sure that was going to come back at some point in time. Like, that part where he wasn't paying attention to was him actually confessing something or giving us a clue about something, some crime or some related gang affiliation that he had outside of something. And I thought this was going to come back, and I thought it was going to come back full circle, and at the end of the season, we were going to come back to this kid and or what he said in this spot right here, and then Punisher's going to realize it all fits together, and he just never realized it. But that never happened. It was just Punisher zoning out. There you go. So it was just, yeah, Punisher zoning out when I thought it was going to be a lot more. Jenner says, why not the Punisher? Why not the movie with Kevin Nash? I don't own that. And this is on Netflix. And it was voted on by the people. There's really no more thought process behind it. As I said, I was just going to combine the things we've been doing where I was going to allow you guys to pick something, but at the same hand, I was going to narrow it down a little bit so we didn't have to pick something from the gigantic comic book universe. I just picked said Marvel Netflix shows because we were talking about how things are disappearing off of Netflix. So I said, fine, how about we just go ahead and I'll narrow it down to these Marvel shows while we still have them and just see which ones you guys want to pick. And so we voted. It was voted upon. Punisher, Episode 1, Season 1. Entitled 3 a.m. was the vote. Yeah, no, that's what we're watching. As you guys notice, I intend to do a lot more of these. Also, by the way, just a quick side note, I still intend to go on the wrestling channel on my normal time at 2 tomorrow. However, I was wondering if you would prefer if I just went on while SmackDown was on. So, would you guys rather I just go on 2, or do you rather come on, or would you rather I did both? Well, just go on for an hour or 2 in the afternoon tomorrow, and then later come back for SmackDown? What are you guys' thoughts? I have no idea what's going on. I'm probably gonna go on to 2 tomorrow anyway, and just ask everybody. Comical, I guess. Oh, okay. Well, I was answering it seriously. I was just saying, because I don't have it, and I have no means of watching it. I actually didn't really like that movie. Right here, where he's zoned out, and he's like, "What happened? Wait." I really like how he's like a kind of a caveman about this. And it's funny. It's because Norman Reedus, who was also in TWD, along with Shane here, was also the voice of the Punisher in a Marvel animated movie. So it's interesting how characters there keep, putting in the Punisher. And Norman Reedus also played Boondock Saint, which is very Punisher-like. I do what the people want. Do both? Do both? Okay. All right, Harry. I liked you. Well, do you want to watch SmackDown? No, but I don't really have a whole lot of options and things to do anymore, so I just kind of do everything. I haven't left the house since last Tuesday, so. People, you know what I think is weird? We keep getting weather reports, like in the news. It's like they talk about the weather, like, well, today's a gorgeous day outside. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I was like, what are you even bother telling anybody anymore? Yeah, I know you can just go outside, but I'm not going to do that. But B, also, I was like, at this point, I mean, doesn't even matter. Do you even need to do a weather report? Yeah, I'm bunkered down. I got nothing else to do, so that's what I'm looking at. I haven't been, I've been watching Raw with you guys just because I was like, hey, I don't actually watch Raw anymore, but I'll give it a shot because I've been whittled down that much. Whittled down that much. Got nothing to do. Okay, and speaking of addict, here we see, I mean, no, this is more of a counseling thing, but it is interesting we have this group dynamic, this group therapy session. Because, and I almost feel stuff like this is inevitable, just because there is so much discussion when it comes to Batman or the Punisher about how they clearly have some sort of psychological problem or psychological issue that they need resolved. So I like that we're getting something of that nature represented, just because it's such an easy thing for you to comment on or just assume. So I feel like if you don't acknowledge it, it's almost weird. And we also saw this in the Winter Soldier too, Captain America: Winter Soldier. We also saw that soldiers do need to talk. It is one of those things. It's you come back, but it's got to be rough. I wouldn't know, but I think it's important to show it. Although and like it fits with the tone of the show, but I have to admit it's a very depressing building. Like, man, you could have found like a nicer place to be. Like, I know it's part of the aesthetic of the show and all that, and for all I know, these kind of that therapy meetings do look like this. But I'm like, man, if you're trying to make people feel better, having a slightly brighter room might help. I like the Punisher in movies that he would take the money from the gangsters and then the gangbangers, and she would also help him with weapons and everything. Yeah, that's fair. Um, I, it is the art of war. Using your enemy's resources against them. I briefly mentioned I did an episode about that over on the Wrestling Channel. I gotta admit, there are some weird episodes I've done of the Wrestling Channel, and there are a lot of times I'm like, this is a weird one. I don't know if it's gonna take, and most of the time it usually does. Like, you guys watch a lot of it and say, wow, and like the Supply and Demand episode for AEW and WWE, I was like, this is left field, but screw it. And everybody, like, that was one of the more watched videos on the channel, and a lot of people mentioned how, oh, this is very informative about economics. I really like this. And it's like, this is not where I was going. Like, today, even today, we made that video a while ago, but even today I got a comment, somebody saying that I learned more about economics from this episode than I did in 2 years of college. Thank you. And I was like, that, stuff like that's a huge compliment to me. Yeah, it's like one of the it's tough because, not to get into it too much, but for me and this channel, it's like there are a lot of people using comic book stuff to talk about other things, and I've done that here too. But this is more just straight up. But I looked at it, then a lot of people weren't doing it for wrestling. A lot of people were like, wrestling fans have this like stigma about them, like they're dumb, or like we're not smart and we're not capable of learning smart things. So I said, why not use a lot of things I see for comic books for wrestling, where we'll talk about other things, or we'll teach you other things, or we'll look at other subjects and use wrestling as a platform to convey these messages, and or these ideas, and that. So that's at least how that's unique. Garth Ennis's Punisher is great. Yes, Garth Ennis does write a very good Punisher. You can do like everybody else. I'm stuck here. Yeah, that's how I am. Stuck here too, bud. Stuck here too. I mean, I did my due diligence. I did my 2 weeks just like I was told to. But yet, it's more. And yet, it's even more. And it's harder. I'm going to have to make a supply run at some point in time. I don't know when I'm going to, but here we go. And so here's another interesting part. Here's another spin on the Punisher, is that here he's got a buddy. Punisher got a buddy. Punisher mostly known as a loner, but here we see that he's got a friend. He's got an ally. He's got someone to talk to. One of the hardest parts about writing loner characters, and Batman gets this criticism too, for a guy who's supposed to be a loner, why does he have a Batman family? But this is definitely something we see, is that loner characters are very hard to write, and people don't realize that. Now, in comic books, you can get away with loner characters because you have the thought bubbles and the interior dialogue. And by the way, it does kind of play me that thought bubbles are gone now. Now they just have little boxes. The actual bubble, that's gone. They don't do that anymore. Makes me sad. Anyway, but you can have those kind of exposition. You can have the characters' inner thoughts. You have places to do it in a comic book. Sure, you could do overhead narration in a TV show or a movie, but it's not the same because visually you need something to look at. You need something to stare at while they're thinking. You could, and I don't particularly like that. As I was taught when it comes to writing, that's kind of a cheat, a shortcut, and so is like I'm sure if you like the show, it's fine. But I'm just saying shows like The Office, where they cut to the character, where they blatantly just tell you right in front of the camera what their motivations are, and deliver exposition. It's kind of a cheat. But the point of the matter is, so unless you want to do a reality show like superhero show where it randomly cuts, Punisher cuts to the camera cuts to the Punisher sitting around and goes, yeah, so I was just thinking this dude's gotta be dirty, so I just gotta shoot him in the face. And then it cuts back to him. And it cuts back to him like on the street, like unless you want to do it that way, it's kind of hard to do it for the Punisher. So giving him allies or someone to talk to really does help to get the words out of what he thinks. And it's because, as I said, the timing has to be right. A lot of times, if you look at like a comic book panel when it's interior thought, it's just a picture of the character, the superhero, standing heroically or sitting there deep in thought. But you can have paragraphs of him just thinking, and you don't have to do anything like that. But if you try doing that in live action, what's he going to do? Just sit there thinking while he delivers this monologue? No, there's going to be a boring shot if you're staring at him long enough to get all that out. So you kind of have to change it up. And people don't realize that, but it makes things a lot harder. I'm just getting here. What are we watching? We are watching The Punisher, Episode 1, Season 1, entitled 3 a.m. Currently, Milani was just introduced. Madani was just introduced. And we are at 23, about the 23 minute mark. 23 minutes and 50 seconds. Is Netflix MCU stuff canon? Because MCU, they actually retcon and plain reboots the characters. No, it is no longer canon. Directly have a hand in creating the main MCU. Yeah, sadly, they actually isn't canon. It's just good and bad because I didn't. This Marvel Netflix stuff really does work in a vacuum. I know they reference a lot. They referenced MCU movies a lot, but there's not a lot going the other way around. Although there are rumors that Daredevil might show up, played by Charlie Cox, in Spider-Man. There are a lot of rumors about that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who knows? But anyway, Jessica Jones, I think, would be shame to miss out on, especially, and also here, John Bernthal, Shane, as the Punisher. I would miss him too. Luke Cage as well. Also, best opening scene ever. Yeah. Do that, Sean Baker. And hey, good to see you. And thank you for a thumbs up and thank you for being here. So one of my feelings about this is that it would be a shame, and these guys definitely pay it forward. Like they're definitely talking about the MCU, but the MCU just never talks about them. But one thing I would say is this kind of does work better on its own. It's a lot of continuity, and there are a lot of character uses that they don't have available in the MCU, and they're kind of like taken away from. But when Mahershala Ali playing Blade in the MCU, I think it's pretty clear, and he's also not the only character. We've also had I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but we also have the actress also in Luke Cage playing Mariah. She is also in both the MCU and Netflix, so it's really working to separate say the both of them. Like, okay, let's separate it. That's the Netflix stuff is no longer canon. Molding PC games while I watch this. Modding PC games while I watch this. Very nice. Very cool. Wow, like triple tasking. Anyone here play Hearts of Iron? I do not know what that is, but if any of you guys do, hey, Warhog Rambo's your dude. Alright, so back to late night, dude. Working late night. Rest of construction guys calling it a day. Unions. Now we're getting the idea of the shady stuff. But Donnie was an interesting character. I liked her too. I think she's a good inclusion. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Punisher has a lot of allies, and especially also Karen Page here. I didn't like the flirtation or the romantic ties they signaled between Karen Page and Frank. I didn't need that. I did like them just being allies, though. Because the way I see it, I don't want Karen Page being romantically attracted to Frank at all. I want her to be attracted to just Matt Murdock. And the other thing, too, is in Season 2, as we saw, he's willing to move on, romantically speaking. So if that's the case, how come he's not romantically... How come he never, pursued Karen? How come he's only... he's the way they portray it in the show is he obviously has feelings for her, and she does, too. So I think it doesn't make a lot of sense why they're not crossing that bridge. So if that was the case, if you knew you were going to, then don't even set it up. Just keep them separate from each other. Or just make them friends and not romantically involved. Just have their relationship be completely platonic. Like Sean Baker says, getting late. Everybody be safe. Have a good night. Well, Sean Baker, thank you for stopping by. Keep the notification on. And hey, hopefully I'll see you in the wrestling live stream tomorrow. Or if I do another one of these surprise comic book streams. But yes, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Right. So Madani's as I said, very interesting character pursuing the case of the Punisher. This is also something. Well, this is a more of a detective thing. This was something I feel has been missing from the Hulk series. Um, oh man, I don't. I must be tired because I'm blanking like everybody's full names. But Jack McGee, the Jack McGee character from the Hulk television show, the reporter who was just obsessing over the Hulk. They did make a quick mention of him in the Incredible Hulk movie, which I like as well. But I think that's a character you can really go by. Like, some people complain about news reporters. Some people hate news reports in comic book movies and television shows. I think it's a handy prop to just have someone explain things, and but I get it; it is overused. Some people really hated that about the Zack Snyder film, saying that like half the movie was just people staring at screens. It's like, wow, great! Even the people in the movie don't even want to be watching this movie, and they want to be watching something else. And while okay, I hear that to an extent, but I do think it's a handy way of, or just saying, delivering exposition instead of having them just talk to the camera, having a monologue narration while we're looking at other stuff. I think news reports are a quicker way to do that. However, if you don't like the, hey, let's watch this reporter person, how about this reporter pursuing? Now that's a little bit of that's a better idea. I think that works. I mean, as we saw, we had Karen Page. She became a reporter and she was doing this. Madani is an agent, special agent who's looking into him. Same thing like that. So I think it's a cool way to. So if it's too much, just having them be anchors on the screen, having a character invested in this is a good idea. I think that at least gets you a way to unravel the plot a little bit more, especially when you have multiple characters all getting into it. All right, so Dale says, I love how Jim Lee would draw the Punisher. Yeah, yes, and I just kind of like the way Jim Lee draws in general, so you get no complaint by me. Only part that some people have criticized is that some of his characters can look a little samey, and yeah, I hear that, but I think he is changing that. Man. Oh, not a flashback, so you know Frank's going crazy. His wife does seem like an absolute sweetheart, though. I like the original Punisher movie, Dolph Lundgren. I remember liking it myself. I haven't seen it in a very long time. There's a shot I haven't seen in 30 years, or close to 30 years. So I don't know if I still like it, but I remember liking it. EJK says, geez, I hate that one reporter. I can't remember his name. Wait, it's Peter. Oh, like, Dave. He's always he's always having Spider-Man to give him his best pose. Is unbelievable. Yeah, yeah, man. It's just weird, and it's like he's the only, and somehow he's still the only reporter who gets pictures of Spider-Man. I wonder how. Harry Flynn says, "Did you know that Zack Snyder did commentary on that?" Yes, I did. I was not interested in any way, shape, or form, as I got way more than enough crap about that on this channel already and on Twitter from those people. But yeah, I'm not interested. I've seen that movie twice. I saw the regular version and the extended version. I'm good. No thanks. I'm good. I did read an article that talked about. It was a pretty interesting article. They were talking about why was this movie so polarizing, and it's interesting because if you do think about it, 2016 we had the female Ghostbusters, which at the time it was a big deal and people were arguing about it. But as time has gone on, and it's just a couple of years, really nobody talks about it anymore. Okay, they hated it and they made a big deal of that when it happened, and here they are now, big whoop. But Batman, Superman, people are still talking about it. They're still arguing about it. And it was an interesting article. They said ultimately it was because that movie took no risk. It took all risk. It took no chance. It took a lot of chances. It didn't play it safe. It just went. This is as Snydery of a movie as we're gonna give you, and you either love it or you hate it. And that's kind of how it is. All right, so back to this show, The Punisher, which I do enjoy. It's so I was saying this is a trope where it's got the hero trying to walk away, trying to be the bigger man, but then these guys keep palling around. Now, sure, their gripe is that it's making them look bad because he keeps putting all that overtime in. I get it, but they're playing tough with this dude, and it's like if you had a guy at a job who's just working to the bone nonstop, doesn't really talk to anybody, seems like a crazy dude, keeps to himself. yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of you, but the same, and you're a pretty big dude yourself, but there's gotta be part of you to think that maybe I shouldn't. Like, I understand it's a TV show, but it always amazes me how these characters persist. Like I said in Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's film, that, Henry Cavill's huge. And these guys are like, I'll pour a beer on his face. Ha 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 ha. It's like, man, you are dumb. Even if he wasn't Superman, I just feel like that's one of those things you're kind of asking for it. And Punisher just walking away. Part of you almost feels like that's the meanest thing he'll do. But not really, because you know he's going to do a lot worse. These guys have it coming. I love how this... But all jokes aside about all this, and I'm just minor nitpicking, I still love this episode. I love the setup, because you're waiting this entire episode, the entire run. You're like, I can't wait to Punisher beats the crap out of these guys, because you know he's got to. And it's like, you want to see it, and they're giving you all the opportunity and just eking and eking and eking it until they get there. So it's a satisfying thing. Same thing I like in professional wrestling matches. Same thing. You set up who the bad guy is. You watch him run away, cowardly heel. It just makes you can't wait till the baby face grabs a hold of him. It's just and gets his hands on him. It's textbook 101 and all walks storytelling. How you guys enjoying the show? He looks very, it's a small detail. Like you see the way he walks. He definitely walks like he has a limp, or he walks like he's been like there's something off about his walk, like he has an injury. You can see that in his walk, and it's an interesting choice that I don't think a lot of people talk about enough. Or it's a very cool, like it's a nuanced thing, but I love that kind of detail. And Madani's mom has one of the, I, this is one of the most like, I'm not, I'm not saying I like it, but I'm not like, it's not that I like it, but not in that kind of way. Madani's mom has one of the voices, like the all-time best like female voices ever. I mean, how does this not stand out to you? Um, this is what she has. Like her voice is like this is just nuts for me. Like I think she doesn't do enough voiceover work. How do you not hire her to do more? Like I can listen to this old lady read a phone book just because it's like, man, that is a crazy voice. And I want to say she has to be cast as a comic book character, cartoon, like the voice of a cartoon character, as a comic book character in an animated series. And I'm sure she has been, but I'm trying to think who would be perfect for her. Like, there's got to be some character that voice fits with, and I can't think of anyone. I've always wanted to know. I never really researched the actress to see if she's done it but I feel like she must have. Like, there's no way she doesn't get voiceover work or voice acting work. She has to, and she doesn't. That as a crime. I mean, just listen to that. It's funny, you guys got all quiet as soon as I start bad mouthing Snyder. I had one of the people who worked on the movie get into it with me over on Twitter. It was me and Richard Lee all of a sudden got in the middle of like a freaking thing. So yeah, you guys got quiet all of a sudden. Would you rather be in a room with Snyder or Vince Russo? Wow, that is a tough call. Wow. Um, wow. Coin flip. A part of me just says, let's say Russo. I'll just say Russo, but that's not easy. That's a tough one, Harry. You definitely gave me a good one there. Thank you for the thumbs up. We're up to 10. Cool shot of the car. Now Punisher knows that things are going down. He's trying to decide what he wants to do. And look at him. He's definitely itching. You can see that he's going crazy right now. He knows how this whole thing is going down. He's just trying to lie in bed and say, hey, I ain't gonna do nothing about it. That angsty feeling where you know you're gonna go. You know, maybe for other things, but you know, we kind of always been there. It's like I'm not gonna. Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, my ex is calling me. I ain't gonna answer. I ain't gonna answer. I'm not gonna answer. I don't care. I'm not gonna answer. And before you know it, you're on the phone. I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna answer. Pick it up anyway. Dave, are you okay with the Punisher you're having? Dave, are you okay with the Punisher you're having a drinking problem? Am I okay with the Punisher having a drinking problem? Yes, I am okay with that. And if you're saying, are you okay with the Punisher? You're having a drinking problem. I really want to do the thing from Airplane where I take the cup and just miss my mouth. But I'm not. I don't want to make a mess everywhere. But if it was, but I really want to. I really want to do the Airplane gag. But if your question is, do I have a problem with the Punisher having a drinking problem? No, I kind of think he should. But again, there's some people who would say he shouldn't have a substance problem because his addiction is killing criminals. So, it's up to you. And if you haven't seen Airplane, there's a gag where he says it was after the war I developed my drinking problem, and they cut to a shot of him. He has a cup and he just goes like this, and he misses his entire mouth, and the water goes everywhere. It is definitely one of the better gags in the movies. Mm-hmm. Kid's wallet falls out. Now they all know he is. And first of all, look, I ain't never done no stuff like this, but I gotta admit, bringing your wallet seems like a stupid thing to do. I thought that was cool. I think that's a cool thing that his wallet pops out and all these kids know it. And flashback of the wife again. Maybe there's another sign of how nuts he is. He's so crazy that he doesn't even remember his wife looking the same way because she looks completely different that she did in Daredevil season 2. I mean, it's funny. The funny thing is about like people talk about this with couples, like, hey, you know, you make a good couple, you don't make a good couple, or whatever like that. Let's look at this dude. Let's look at this house. Let's look at this wife. Yeah, he fits in here. Now, I'm not saying this was supposed to happen or nothing, but I'm just saying, it's like you were going to screw this up sooner or later anyway, pal. I mean, as nutsoid as you are. And the other thing about in season 2 of Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe his wife was blonde. I think. And with that being the case, I thought it explained why there was an attraction with him and Karen Page, only because she was a little more similar looking to his wife. So I actually thought they tied that in a little well, that because she reminded him of his wife. But as we said, now he's really, he's going crazy because he had that dream about his family, and now he's really pissed. So he goes with the sledgehammer to make things happen. And unfortunately, this is when things kick in. And it's like, I buy them coming to a construction site to sort out business. It's convenient. The convenient meetings place, but nonetheless it makes sense. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, 2000 Man Reborn. It seems, it was a subtle thing to tie them together, which I liked, but they kind of took it away with this, and for whatever reason. And his wife looked more like his wife, as I remember, looked in Daredevil. It looked more like someone you could see with this guy, and she was more New York-y looking. She definitely seemed more like, oh, this girl's from New York. Yeah, I'd buy that. Where this girl, I'm like, yeah, right, she's from New York. What part? How far upstate are we talking here? She, I would laugh. I would laugh if the actress actually is from New York, but still, like, just think about New Yorkers. It's like that person ain't from New York. You can tell, like, when you look at them. Sometimes you're wrong, but a lot of times you look at them and you're like, that person ain't from around here. Now Punisher seeing his homie getting all beat up because Dum Dum brought his wallet. And this gang, the goons, whatever you want to call them, this construction leader, the main guy, he looks familiar to me. Like I feel like I have seen him in other stuff. This dude right here, I don't know where, but he definitely looks familiar. Like I've seen him in other stuff. Now a gun would be nice and simple, but we have to justify why we're not going to use it because we need the rest of the show to happen. Build the suspense. He also this dude also kind of reminds me, like, I know they're different people, but he also the leader, he kind of reminds me of Big Cass. I mean, he's tall and he kind of looks like him, and you can't teach that. Anybody? And when he talks, I can buy him from being New York. I mean, how's that? First of all, that fall alone was probably gonna mess you up because that was. I don't care if there is liquid cement. First of all, it's in the middle of the night. Why is there liquid cement all ready to go in there? You could say like they turned it on, but still, like, why was it in the mixer to begin with? You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't just leave that running overnight. Well, like, why would, like, anyway. I don't know anything about construction. Maybe they would, but it seems odd to me. And it's also, now he's had enough. You probably could have stepped up, I don't know, before they threw him into the pit of cement. I don't know, giving that a shot. But here's the payoff. We're finally getting the payoff where he's going nuts with the hammer. No, of course, we gotta you gotta cut him off. He's got the comeback now, but we gotta give him a little bit of a cutoff. Go back to the heat. Brutal. Brutal. Yeah, I gotta admit, that's rough. The violence level is definitely really strong on this. And so now we drop it. So we cut him off. Gotta add a little bit of suspense. He can't just straight up beat him up. We gotta give him a little bit of a challenge here. So now, got caught off guard for a second. But don't worry, he's the Punisher. He'll figure this out while this dude's slowly limping away and this other guy's doing an army crawl. It's funny, like, you ever see babies when they're, before they figure out how to crawl, they sometimes do that, they kind of like crawl, they kind of army crawl. I find babies trying to figure out how to crawl hysterical. A lot of times some babies, they just crawl backwards and stuff like that. Or when they're, like, and they get up and they just kind of bounce and they have no idea what they're doing. Like, they think they're moving, but they're really not going to, they're just bouncing. I don't know, I think it's funny if you watch it. My boy Dave, sub. What up, Ace? Up 12! Watching The Punisher at the end of episode 1, season 1. Almost over, but thank you for being here. I guess it's a little earlier for you than it is for me, still. Okay, was Frank Castle kicked out of the police? Are they going where you came back from? What? Dale, I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. In the context of this show, he was in the military. I believe he was not ever a police officer in this continuity. He was just a member of the military. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man versus Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Which were better movies? It's Tobey Maguire by far. It's by far and away. First of all, there's 3 of them. And one was bad, where Amazing Spider-Man, I say 2 are bad, but in the least, you're going to say at least 1 was bad. So that's a 50% ratio as opposed to a 50% bad as opposed to a 33% bad. So, I don't know. Yeah, and here we go. So, like, the Punisher, this guy is a criminal. Some context in the comic books, Punisher would have just let this kid die too. And I kind of thought he was going to. I would say it's a little cruel, but I did kind of suspect that he was going to do it. And here we go. It helped him up. So this Punisher is a little more... It's a little nicer. It's not as mean. But he's also going to have to take care of this kid by making sure he gets rid of all these guys. And getting rid of mobsters is not like it's something he just want to do anyway. I did think this kid was going to come back at some point in time. I really, really thought that sooner or later we were going to see this kid come back. It didn't. And as I said earlier, here we go. Now he's going to kill a bunch of mobsters. True to form Punisher, OG classic Punisher. We're getting out the way in the first episode because we're not going back to it again. The rest of the season is going to be a bunch of military stuff. And there's no problem with that. I thought it was a cool... It was very interesting to me that they made this a more militaristic Punisher. But yeah, there you go. Spider-Man Far From Home versus Spider-Man 2. Ooh, that's a tough call. I think those are very close. I like both of those movies a lot. It's kind of a coin flip. Part of me wants to say Spider-Man 2. If you twist my arm, I'll just say Spider-Man 2 right now. But you could probably convince me of Far From Home. Wait, Far From Home? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, that Spider-Man 2, very easily. I thought you meant Homecoming. Homecoming of Spider-Man 2 is hard. Far From Home versus Spider-Man 2, easily Spider-Man 2. Sorry, no questions asked. It is so brutal. Like, a lot of the CGI stuff, it makes filming so much easier, but I will admit it very obviously looks CGI to me, and I kind of wish, I kind of miss the days of practical effects, even though they're doing stuff with CGI they could never do with practical. I meant Homecoming. Okay, yeah, Homecoming versus Spider-Man 2, very close. I'll say Spider-Man 2, but you could probably convince me of Homecoming without too much. Alright, so here's your one-off and microchip. A slender microchip who looks goat-like. Not used to seeing microchip look like this, but there we go. Alright, episode 1. A nice standalone episode, so if you haven't been watching, you haven't been keeping up with it, or if you don't know the rest of the series, it's a good reintroduction of the character from Season 2 Daredevil. It works. It also gets some classic Punisher stuff out the way because they have their own story to tell for the remainder of the season. So I think this is a great one-off, especially since we're just watching one episode today. I think that really works, and it was a very good pick. So thank you guys for voting on that. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up for tonight? After midnight for here, if you're in the New York area. Also, I kind of want to eat. I don't need to, but I kind of want to. But either way, thank you again for saving my sanity and giving me somebody to talk to. Do appreciate it. Hope you guys are holding up well as well. Late in the DMV too. You're working the DMV? DMV's open now? That doesn't make sense. Unless DMV means something I don't know. LLAP, Dave? I don't know what that is either. Yeah. You guys are using slang that apparently I'm not cool enough to know. But either way, thanks for being here. As I said, hope you guys are doing okay. Hope you guys are staying sane. Yeah, I'll see you on the wrestling channel tomorrow. And of course, like always, make sure your notifications are working because you never know when I'm coming on here. Oh, DMV equals DC, Maryland, Virginia, and LLPD means long live and prosper. Live long and prosper. Whoa, did not know that. This means live long and prosper. Also means it's Vader time, depending on which you want to do. But thank you for that. So yeah, you guys all live long and prosper as well. Live long and prosperity to all. DC, Maryland, Virginia area. You know what's? I've been to Ocean City, Maryland. I have never been to. I've been to West Virginia. I don't know if I've ever been to Virginia. I don't think I've ever been to regular Virginia, and I've never been to Washington D.C. I've always wanted to go to that city, and I've never gone. It's like just long enough of a drive that it's not exactly convenient for me. Like if it was a little bit closer, I probably would have just banged it out to do it. By now, like me and my friends, we don't go as often, but there's like for a while, like especially in our 20s, we would just go to Philly. Like it was close enough. It's a 2-hour drive. It's not the end of the world. It was close enough, and we would just bang it out every once in a while, just randomly sometimes. Or Atlantic City, just randomly go bang out a trip to Atlantic City. But DC is just like a little too far. Like if it was a little closer, I could see myself spontaneously doing it, or at least when I was younger, spontaneously going. But yeah, never gone there, and I always want to. Ocean City, Maryland's as far as I got. And that was when I was a teenager. And my memories of Ocean City, Maryland, were that the girls there are gorgeous. That was one thing I remember. I was like, wow, I think everybody here is hot. Like, I think every female I saw was gorgeous. Got a wild one when I go to New Jersey. See, that's the thing. There's an Ocean City, New Jersey. I've never been there, but I've been to Ocean City, Maryland. Go figure. Go figure that one out. Um, what New Jersey? I only vaguely. I'm not a big shore guy either, or a beach guy. Like when I was a kid, like if you're in New York here, if you're from New York City, you could, yeah. There are some New Yorkers who go to the Jersey Shore, but there's also Jones Beach out in Long Island. Like that was the beach I went. Like that was the first beach I went to when I was a kid. So like yeah, that was the first beach I can remember. I assume it's the first beach I ever went to, but yeah, that's the beach I remember is going to Jones Beach. Um, but yeah, you know. So to me, the real New York, like New Yorkers have this thing where they really just don't want to cross the border. It's like yeah, even if something might be closer time wise and distance wise in New Jersey, they kind of just if they can, they'll just they'll go slightly further to go to New York anyway. But yeah, I like to go fishing. I like to go coast. I am a notoriously terrible fisherman. Duel, who did the theme song for the wrestling show, will tell you he likes fishing, and I've had other friends who are into it too. I've tried it. I am horrendous, horrendous at fishing. Um, yeah. Okay, but thank you for keeping me here, keeping me occupied. You guys good? Hope you guys are again. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys live long and prosper. And I am probably going to see you tomorrow on the wrestling channel, but I'm getting a little hungry, so I think there might be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my future or something else. I'm going to see what's left that I can possibly eat. But anyway, seriously, thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping me company. And it was fun watching the show with you guys. Yeah, and hey, if you want to leave a comment on what you want to see in the future installment of one of these, please do. And of course, make sure your notifications are working and that you are subscribed to Twitter, to me on Twitter. You're following me on Twitter. That way you know when we're going live. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, Dave knows.